I just encourage, again, anyone entering those spaces because of what they are to do them safely, to do them in an environment that you are safe, do them with people that you're safe with, and set an intention because you're going to get what you're seeking. So if you don't know what you want, you're open to all sorts of energies that exist. And it's great to be an open book when it comes to learning new experiences, but it's not great to be an open book when you're around tons of energy that can be impressioned upon you. That's how we take on other people's bullshit. What's up, my friends? Welcome to the You Are the Rockstar Show. This is episode 17, Psychedelics. It's a trippy one. I'm really excited about it. It's not a topic that I've covered a lot or shared a bunch on in social media, but I have some experience in my life. Not a lot, but I have enough experience to where I want to share with you all some tips. Not necessarily saying you should explore this avenue or this lane of life, but just saying if you do, how you can do that in a safe and healthy way. First thing I must say is that you should really trust the sources where you get things from. I don't care if it's food or psychedelics, whatever it is, you should really look into where you're getting the things from, especially nowadays with the amount of cutting and mixing of various substances. We might not know what we're ingesting. So therefore, making it important to do some research, find out where the things came from. Do you trust the source? That's very, very important. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was younger, if somebody told me not to do something, I wanted to do it. So that kind of is what inspired this podcast. I had a couple people reach out on my Instagram because I asked what you guys wanted me to talk about. And multiple people asked me to talk about psychedelics. So I was like, all right, let's go. And it reminded me back in high school and junior high when I was learning about drugs. And there was more of an emphasis on just don't do it, rather than empowering people with the tools and awareness in regards to what to do when you're around those things, or just what the effects are on the body, the brain, and your life in general. I know most likely you're going to do what you're going to do regardless of what someone tells you. But if someone tells you not to do something, I think there's a higher chance you're going to do it. So I'm not going to sit here and try and tell you don't do it. I'm just going to empower you with the knowledge to where if you do choose to do this, again, I'm not condoning you do. There's natural ways you can reach higher levels of consciousness, which we will get into a little bit. But if you do, there's ways to do this that are safe, much more safe than just taking something a random person gives you and being in an environment that could put you at risk of all sorts of things happening, whether it's shitty energy, a bad trip, just being unsafe in general. These are important things to know, stuff that I wish I learned in high school, and I just really want to share with you. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to kind of branch out and share about something new. We're not going to talk about, every psychedelic under the sun. I'm just going to talk about a couple of my experiences and my evolution as a human and the things that I've learned. So I hope you get value from this. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say, I believe you can reach altered states of consciousness through natural means like meditation, breath work, and committed practice. So you don't need psychedelics to reach these altered states of consciousness. I think they can be found within ourselves. And that is more important than exploring something external. And that's because if you don't have a foundation, a strong relationship with yourself before exploring these kind of things, that's when you can have really bad experiences. I don't think someone should be exploring psychedelics if they are in a weird place in their life. Because if you think about it, alcohol is not a psychedelic, but what does alcohol do? Well, they say that alcohol is like a truth serum. You say what you really feel when you're drunk. And in a way, different psychedelics will just amplify what's already within you. So if you're venturing down that space, I just encourage you to really think about a few things. Really think about, where you're at and if you're okay. Because these tools can be used as medicine for healing and for greater perspective. Again, not like they're the only means, Like I said before, breath work, committed practice, meditation, you can reach these states of consciousness using those means, and it can be a lot more healthy for your body. So I would encourage you to explore that first. But I know there's going to be a high likelihood that you're going to explore it if you choose to, maybe not diving into those modalities first, and you're just going to go straight, to opening the floodgates rather than creaking the door open. And I just want to remind you to think of three things. Think about the space you're in, think about the people you're with, and think about the intention you're setting. Because our environments can have a huge role on the experience that is created when partaking in psychedelics. And if we're not in a safe space, this can really wreak havoc on our mind and be a poor decision, in my opinion. And if we don't set an intention, it's kind of like you're just opening up to anything, all possibilities, and just saying, take me. And that's cool if you choose to surrender into that. But I would encourage you to do the opposite. And I would encourage you to be more potent with your intention and actually have one. So think about what it is that you're trying to get from your experience, because the universe responds to people who are clear and know what it is that they're seeking. Almost like you can't hit a target unless you see the target. If you don't choose what you would like clarity on, then what do you expect besides a whole bunch of stuff you might not be ready for? So that being said, my journey with psychedelics it kind of started in high school just with smoking weed, which isn't really a psychedelic in my opinion. But when I was 17, I just started smoking weed. And for about a decade, I smoked weed a lot. So it feels kind of funny to say because I never really shared that a lot with people in a public setting. But yeah, pretty much anything weed related, we were like smoking and stuff like that. Very kind of community thing, just with friends and things like that. But yeah, I did it for 10 years, and there was times where it was like, I realized it was a bit of a crutch and I was masking something that was my own insecurity, and I was numbing rather than dealing with kind of the things within that I wasn't comfortable with, whether that was just kind of my own voice or my confidence. I was just numbing and kind of seeking that next high. And when I started doing Kundalini yoga was when I started to realize I was abusing marijuana. And that was when I started having negative experiences with it. And that was when I stopped. And so that's very interesting because some people will say, in Kundalini yoga, it's very intense. You have kind of, a lot of times people will say a spiritual awakening. I can't say I had a spiritual awakening in one point in time. I do believe that I had kind of a progressed awakening that led me down the path of kind of taking a bit of an inventory on what I was doing and how it was serving me, and oftentimes how it was not serving me. And so I was smoking a bunch, and I was not dealing with my stuff, as I mentioned before. But when I was doing Kundalini, I was coming back and I was high off my ass. I was so high, and it was just off breath work and doing these things called Kriyas, which are meditations. And then my teacher had told me that, like, if you are participating in any type of drug use, whether it's weed or psychedelics or anything, and you're doing this practice, just be careful because your central nervous system, he said, was a little bit more vulnerable because you're having this heightened, elevated experience. Again, you can believe what you want. This was my experience. And so when I started trying to smoke weed, I would notice I felt super uncomfortable. It's kind of like in Talladega Nights when Ricky Bobby, aka Will Ferrell, says, "I don't know what to do with my hands," and his hands start rising up. I love that part. But that's what it makes me think of. It was that just in every situation. It was all like, oh, is everyone looking at me? Or, oh, am I breathing weird? Or, oh, am I chewing too loud? Which is just paranoia, which happens. But it just got like compounded to the point where it was really uncomfortable, and I didn't enjoy it. And so for me, I felt like, cool, that was the spirit, the energy of marijuana, and my 10 years of abusing it now telling me it's time to stop. Again, this is my experience, but I felt like I abused it for so long in college and high school and everything, and then while we were touring, that it was just time. It was time for something else. And for me, I was using it as a crutch, and I realized that. So I let that go, and I haven't really partaken in that in quite a few years, just because I don't really like smoking anything at this point in my life. Just doesn't necessarily align with where I'm at. Again, why breath work can be really potent and powerful, because you can get high on your own supply on that, yo. I was teaching that for a while when we were on tour and I was doing my yoga classes. We would do breath of fire. I have a couple of videos on YouTube of me doing breath of fire if you're interested. But you get high on that. You get high on your breath, and it's free, and you feel awesome. And it's a lot better for your body in general. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing marijuana, because I think medicinally it has amazing benefits, and I know a lot of people that enjoy it for those reasons. So rock on. That was my experience with weed, and it kind of evolved. And then in college, I experimented a little bit more with psilocybin, which is just magic mushrooms, with some friends a couple times up in Burlington, and had beautiful experiences, just feelings of, euphoria, oneness, and just felt like I was the main character in my own movie, which was cool because it kind of reminded me of my own personal power, and it really brought me into a bliss state that stayed with me for months afterwards. And around that same time that I was exploring with magic mushrooms, I had like one LSD experience that was really cool. It was really fun for me, but it didn't really feel like super in alignment, like I wanted to explore that anymore. I just encourage, again, anyone entering those spaces, because of what they are, to do them safely, to do them in an environment that you are safe, do them with people that you're safe with, and set an intention, because you're going to get what you're seeking. So if you don't know what you want, you're open to all sorts of energies that exist. And if you're in an environment, like let's say you're in an environment with tons of people, tons of energy, there's a higher likelihood you might run into something, if you don't have an intention, that could kind of throw you for a bad trip. And again, if you're going through some crazy life experiences, these kind of things amplify what's already inside. Not saying alcohol, again, is a psychedelic, but I'm saying like alcohol is a prime example of this. It just brings out the truth. It brings out the things underneath. At least that's what they say. So I just want to share that with you. And then when I was in Costa Rica in 2020, before the whole world lockdown, I saw this gentleman named Paul Stamets speak, and he has a movie called Fantastic Fungi that it's my most watched movie of the last 2 years, for sure. It is on Netflix. It is visually stunning. It is an educational film about mushrooms, not just psychedelic, but just the power of mushrooms in general. I really encourage anyone who is interested in that topic to check it out. Even if you're not interested, it's worth it. I got my parents hooked on it, got tons of friends and family members watching it, and it is just talking about the medicinal benefits of how we can explore uncharted territory in regards to cancer research and mental health and all these things using mushrooms. And of course, there's a little bit about psilocybin, which is what he shared, or at least what I remember him sharing in Costa Rica that really stuck with me was less is more. And in so many areas of life, whether it's performing on stage, for me, I found that less is more. You don't have to overcompensate. And what I mean by that is when Paul Stamets was talking, and this is just an example, of course, but when Paul Stamets was talking, he said that they're doing research, and they found from doing CAT scans on people's brains that when they would take small amounts, very small amounts, like small amounts, no psychoactive effects, meaning you don't see stuff, there's nothing really crazy happening. When you take a small microdose of psilocybin and lion's mane, which is a mushroom that you could buy in a store, and put them together, something happens in your brain that actually works to create more neural pathways, and your brain fires like a Christmas tree. He showed a CAT scan, and the brain was firing off. You could see all these lights, and he did one brain without and one brain with, and he was just saying that we're only tapping into the top of the iceberg when it comes to the powers and the healing benefits, which is medicinal properties of these things. And so I'm really passionate about specifically mushrooms, just because I think that it has the ability to help people through PTSD, whether it's veterans, whether it's people who've experienced other kinds of trauma. It has a way of bringing a euphoric sense of oneness into our lives, and not something we have to take all the time. It's something that, it could be every couple months, it could be once a year. I don't know. That's up to you to experiment and explore with yourself. But I'm really passionate about that space because I think it is uncharted territory in regards to how we can help everyone with their mental health. And I don't know if there's anything more important right now besides human trafficking that we should be talking about, but our mental health is up there. And, without that, what do we got? It's like that saying, if you don't have your health, you got nothing. It's like, yeah, if you don't have your mental health, you got nothing also, because how are you supposed to cognitively function in the world if your mental health is just shot? And I've gone through the ups and downs in my life. I've gone through depressive periods. I have like had anxiety, stress, and I just know that these things are here to help if we treat them like medicine. They're nothing to be scared of. Just make sure, you check in with where you're at in your life. Make sure that you're with good people that are supportive, that care about you, that will take care of you, that you're in an environment that's safe. And then also you set an intention, because if you don't set an intention, you're just an open book. And it's great to be an open book when it comes to learning new experiences, but it's not great to be an open book when you're around tons of energy that can be impressioned upon you. That's how we take on other people's bullshit. And energetically, we can bring in bad trips into our lives. And I don't want you to have that, whether it's just breath work, whether it's meditation, whether it's a committed practice, or whether you're exploring in other modalities like we're speaking of here. Do these things. Check your space, check the people, check your intention. These are not concepts that are strictly needing to be applied to psychedelics. These are concepts that are applied to life. And you should really embrace them, because they will make you more potent and it will make your experience even more heightened. And I'm just a product of it. So that's why I'm passionate about speaking in that regard. But I hope this provides value for you guys today. It's a little bit different. I was thinking in my head, is this on brand for me? And for sure it is. It's definitely, I'm all about higher consciousness. I'm all about depth of connection with ourselves. I just think we can reach all these states of being naturally. We don't need other substances. But at the same time, these substances can be medicine if we treat them that way, if we don't abuse them. And where we fall into the traps are where we abuse things and we use them as crutches. And what I see a lot sometimes in the spiritual community is spiritual bypassing, using different drugs instead of dealing with our shit. And that can really send us down a hole that can be really difficult to dig ourselves out of. So just be aware of that, because that's what it's all about. Awareness changes things, and listening to what's in alignment with you, because we're all going to be faced with choices in our lives. And if we make positive choices, we'll have more positive outcomes. Now, we won't always make positive choices. That's okay. But if we make choices by observing, again, awareness of the people we're with, the places we're at, and the intentions we're setting, then we can explore in a more potent sense. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys got value out of this today. If you have questions about this stuff, feel free to reach out to me. We're going to end this like we always do with 3 breaths. So close your eyes. Take a nice big breath in from your nose. Slower, deeper breath out from your mouth. Another big breath in from your nose. Even slower, more relaxed breath out from your mouth. Let go. Biggest breath in you can. Fill up. And a gentle exhale. Slowly let the air fall from your lips. Gently open your eyes. Carry that feeling with you wherever you go, and just know you got that power. Always. Shout out to Presence, the app, for helping people to enhance their consciousness in a natural way by setting goals. Also remaining focused on your intentions and connecting to ourselves along with technology in a deeper capacity. So pause, meditate, and reflect daily, and check out the app. I got a discount code in the description here. I do some meditations on the app, and I'd love to hear what you think of it. So drop me a line, give me a reflection. I love you all. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be here. Yeah, I do. I really do love you. Thank you. Peace.